Hey, everybody, and welcome back to our new name, the Business and Beyond podcast with your host, Chris Doyle. And I'm here with the daredevil himself, Johnni DiJulius.
What's happening?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing? Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Guys, this is episode number 21, and we're happy to be here.
21. You've had a lot of these. This is good.
Your dad was number 5 or 6, right?
He was early.
He was early.
I got to outdo him then. Him.
Show off. So
Johnni. The better Johnni DiJulius.
There you go, boss. So Johnni, hey, so thanks for coming on. Before we get into any nitty gritty, let's just start traditional and say, let's go with, who are you? What are you up to these days? Where are you from? Go from there.
All right. So for everybody listening, my name's Johnni DiJulius, and formerly wrestled at the Ohio State University. And, it's the better OSU. Shout out to Hesh, right? The better OSU. And now just currently traveling and trying to do cool shit. Can I swear?
Yeah, you're
I try to do cool shit. You know what I mean? That's about it.
That's your brand.
Yeah, that's it. No tomorrow.
Talk about no tomorrow.
Okay, so what, actually, I don't know how I got so fortunate, I guess. Funny how this started. Me and my dad are very opposite, right? He likes to be about his business. Not that I don't. He's very, very successful in that regard, right? Mm-hmm. Owns several businesses. He's written, 4 or 5 books, which I've totally read.
Yeah, skim through them.
Yeah. And
well, you're in it. You're in it.
Am I?
Oh, yeah.
Is that sick? Anyways, long story short, my dad is obviously a customer service speaker. Let's say he goes to like Atlantis, right? To speak about customer service to the managers. He'd fly in at 8 a.m., speak all day. 5, 6 p.m., he'd fly out. He just wants to be home. Mm-hmm. He's very, he's a homebody a little bit. He likes to be in Cleveland. He says his back patio is his favorite place to be.
Yeah.
I'd be at Atlantis for about 2 weeks with no return flight. That's just, that's how I am. I like to be very spontaneous and whatnot. And it gives him a little bit of stress, as you can imagine. I'm jumping off buildings. I'm doing some silly stuff.
Just a little anxiety.
One day he's yelling at me, he's like, you just live life like an idiot. He's just giving me the whole dad speech. And he said, you gotta buckle down and, really get after something, You live life, you don't care about today, or you only care about today, you don't care about tomorrow.
Yeah.
He said that. And I'm like, hold up, man, wait a second. And I call my buddy Jake. I'm like, yo, what do you think about the phrase no tomorrow?
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I love Jake's just like me. He's like, yo, dude, I love it. Jake is actually Tom Ryan's son, which is funny.
Yeah, yeah.
He goes, no, wait, I love that. And basically what it means is not go, skydive, go kill yourself, no tomorrow. Of course not. That's not what it means. It's more so like do stuff that makes you feel very present, right? Mm-hmm. Do stuff that, it could be, hey, I hate this job that I'm working. My dream is to open an art studio one day. That's your no tomorrow. That's your passion. Go do that. So somehow, this is the fortunate part, the trademark wasn't owned in America. So I owned the trademark for No Tomorrow, and I started just putting it on clothes, putting it on shirts, and jumping off, doing cool shit, traveling the world, wearing it. So that's basically
And this was what year? When did you start No Tomorrow?
Only about a year ago.
In your anniversary.
It's this week, actually, ironically. Yeah, pretty cool.
So talk about how you're able to go ahead and then just spread the word. I know you said hey, we're going to put it on shirts. You do a lot of social media stuff.
A lot of social media, yeah. Have you ever heard of the term Ikigai?
Yeah, absolutely. Your dad was talking
about that. So I steal a lot from him, right?
Yeah.
I cherry pick from everybody.
For sure.
It's hard for me to manifest my own thoughts, right?
Yeah.
I like to cherry pick good things. I'm a byproduct of everybody I've been around, right? And I steal from everybody like that. Ikigai is fourfold. It's it's do you love it? Are you good at it? Can you be paid for it? And last but not least, does it impact the world in a positive way?
Yeah.
A lot of people miss that one, right? Some people don't love what they do, but they happen to be good at it and make money. Okay, the love one, we always overly talk about. Mm-hmm. You got to love what you do. You got to love what you do. Sometimes just happiness isn't really fulfillment because happiness can cut. Ice cream makes me happy, right? It doesn't mean that's not my purpose for being here though, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times, when I find real fulfillment, it's when something's a little bit bigger than me. So what No Tomorrow for me does is I'm able to inspire other people that maybe not to go jump off something, right? I would never want, to influence that kind of thing, but to make somebody maybe make a last second spontaneous trip to Florida, right? Yeah. Do something spontaneous, do something adventurous, do something off script. So many people fall into this script. Hey, I'm 25, I'm 30, maybe I'm 40, and I'm just, going through my life on autopilot. And I like when people go off script. So if I can inspire anybody to go off script a little bit, that's a little bit bigger than me, and that gives me a lot of A lot of excitement.
Yeah, kind of like that just robot mentality. Like, hey, you wake up, you brush your teeth, you take the dogs out. You know what I mean?
People die twice. You know that?
Exactly.
You know people die twice?
Talk about it.
Well, they die once when they're 80.
Okay.
Right? But they also die once when they're 30, when they realize the rest of their life is going to be exactly how it is right now. You know, the dream goes away. You know, the best part about being a kid is you haven't learned what you can't do yet, right? You're 6 years old. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a firefighter. I want to play in the MLB. I want to play in the NBA. You have all these different things that you could be. Once you're 30, when you start thinking, oh, that's unrealistic. I can't do that.
Retirement.
Right? Yeah. Not even retirement. It's like, okay, for example, the other day I have a buddy, and he's 28. And he goes, yo, I made a song. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Release it. He goes, dude, no. I sell insurance. Like, I'm a 28-year-old Cleveland dude. I'm not going to release a song. I look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And to me, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Why would you not do something that you're passionate about? Why would you not do that? But all the other eyes on you would make fun of you. Oh, you are 28. You're not a singer. Why would you be doing that? Right? So it's like, to me, if like when you're a kid and you have all these dreams, I don't think they should die just because you're 30, just because your age, right? Like that doesn't make sense to me. I think you could be 50, and if you want to change careers and go become an actor and you've never acted before, you should do it. That's how I believe. And a lot of people make fun of that. A lot of people say that's stupid, that's unrealistic, but hey.
But you're living your best life.
It's your life. Yeah.
Right? And so, and I love that, how you're inspiring others, because and we're going to put some of your videos throughout the podcast.
Love that.
So people who don't know you can understand really what you're about, right? And what No Tomorrow is, right?
Exactly.
But I love that, how you're inspiring people to just, quite literally, take the next step off the cliff, right? Jump off, right?
Well,
it's
a very liberating feeling. Have you ever heard of, it's called, we get a little Harvard on you. I coached at Harvard for a little bit. So I stole from them, right?
Yeah. Cherry picking.
Heisenberg's uncertainty principle.
Sure.
I use it as a metaphor, kind of like, everything's a metaphor, right? Like I relate everything to wrestling. I'm sure that's just how it is. For me, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle is, in paraphrasing, I'm not, perfect definition. I think it's, you don't know an object's motion and trajectory both at the same time. Like if you know its position, you can't know where it's going to be. But if you know where it's going to be, you didn't know where it's going to be. Right? And people kind of get lost in like, hey, I know where I am right now, right? I have security. I'm at this job. I'm being paid, but I hate it, right? Kind of golden handcuffs, right? Like I'm living this lifestyle. I'm eating at these restaurants. I have this car payment. I have this house payment. If I did quit this job that I hate though and go start a passion, I'd take a pay cut and I'm stuck with this lifestyle that's the golden handcuffs, right? So a lot of people think like, ooh, one day. And kind of like in my eyes, I don't want to ever say one day because stuff doesn't happen without effort, obviously, right? So the uncertainty principle for me is, let's use that art studio, art gallery type of example that I already said. Let's say there's a girl, right? She's, 25, 26, and she's always wanted to open an art studio. She has a passion for appraising art, selling art, making art, whatever it is. She wants to open an art gallery one day in some beach town and just, that's her passion, right? She works at some marketing place. She hates it. Let's just pretend, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some people love marketing. She just happens to hate it,
Yeah.
but it's a great check. She got it out of college and so on. Every single what if is going to be before she decides to leave. For me, what if my parachute doesn't open? What if I don't stick this landing? What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? There's a lot of what ifs that, can go into it. The second I leave that object and I jump, every single fear I had is no longer there. It's the most present, right? It's the most present, freeing, liberating moment. It's just boom, you step off into nothingness, into the unknown, right? Obviously, my consequences are a lot higher than a girl quitting a job.
Yeah.
But that's going to be the most exhilarating, no tomorrow moment for her when she decides to do that. It might go wrong for her. She might go under. I have no idea, but I guarantee she's going to have a lot more fulfillment doing that and failing than she does going through this plateau, autopilot life. So that's how I view it.
And that's awesome. I mean, you hear a lot of people say you're the summation of your thoughts, right? So if you're constantly thinking,
good word.
Hey, the what ifs, I want to take this business venture, but what if I don't make money? Or what if people don't like my music? Or, what if my parachute, doesn't exactly.
That would
so
suck.
You're just, well, yeah, I mean,
That'd
a
be
little
bad day.
when you're the summation of those negative thoughts, right? You're never going to take that leap. You
can't.
Right.
Yeah.
And Johnny, a lot of this podcast are a lot of people who want to be able to be entrepreneurs, who want to go and invest, in maybe the more risky assets, or they may want to do something they're passionate about, but just they lack maybe the inspiration or the motivation to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I agree, but motivation also comes and goes, for me at least, right?
Yeah.
Like anybody. Habits is everything, right? You always hear like a phrase about like discipline is what you have when motivation dies and stuff like that. I think of motivation, imagine like a fire, right? There's a fire, and we always use metaphors like I'm burnt out, I'm fired up, right? That's kind of how we sum up any kind of like excitement or inspiration. Lighter fluid is external motivators, right? Hey, I'm going to do an extra rep because the guy at the other school is working out right now. Oh, I'm going to, do really well in this game and hit 3-pointers because my dad's here watching, right? Like whatever it is, that's like lighter fluid. It's going to give you a burst of energy for a second. Whoa, I'm fired up. My dad's watching.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's here. My side girl's here. My other side girl's here. I don't know, right? and it's going to be super excited from lighter fluid. But lighter fluid can never be your flame. So an external motivator can never be the reason you're doing something. It has to be internal, right? And the most powerful internal motivator in the world is love, in my opinion, right? And something I actually learned from Kyle Snyder. He's an Olympic gold medalist for everybody listening, right?
Maybe he's listening.
Yeah, maybe he's listening. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
He has this phrase when he's wrestling that he says, protect nothing. Now, when he's in the room, and a lot of people think like when you're in a dark place, right? When you have to get tough, the voices are talking, hey, back off. Hey, you might not do it. All these voices are talking. It's really easy for us to say when we're not feeling that, hey, man, you got to dig deep. Fuck off. Yeah, that's cheesy. I hate that.
Yeah.
You don't got to dig deep. You are a byproduct of every time you've dug deep at practice, and now it's a habit in a match, right? If you've never dug deep before, you're not going to dig deep in a match, right? So it's not just dig deep. That's not what it is. It's not you. To will something together takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy. So what he does, he's at practice. He has his coach say, protect nothing. And every time he hears his coach say protect, you can attribute that to don't protect your lead, don't protect your gas tank, don't protect your reputation, whatever, right? He hears the term protect nothing. He's exhausted. He's tired. He doesn't want to be here. The voices are talking. He chooses to attack. He chooses to shoot. He chooses to do something aggressive forward, right? All of a sudden, he's in the middle of a match. His body doesn't want to shoot, doesn't want to go forward, doesn't want to do anything right now because he's so exhausted. He hears his coach say, yo, protect nothing. He only knows to do one thing. It's a habit now. Your mind is a muscle. Why wouldn't you treat it like a muscle memory, right? It's the same thing when I'm on top of an object. I don't want to jump off. I'm scared.
Yeah.
But I say 3, 2, 1, see ya. I've done that so many times. I stood on a curb.
Is that your mantra?
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I say 3, 2, 1, see ya. I stepped off this curb onto a street, went back on, and I did it like 100 times. All of a sudden, I'm on a cliff. I'm on a bridge. I'm on something. I say 3, 2, 1, see ya. I don't want to jump, but I only know discipline-wise to do one thing after that. Jump. You know what I mean? So, discipline's a very interesting thing. It's much deeper than just motivation. I think motivation dies, and you're only left with the habits you have created.
That's awesome, man. I mean, that's something I got to teach my kids one day.
if we have any.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So kind of go into that. So you're talking about the discipline. How do you kind of instill that? Like, we're both wrestlers, and especially when you're on a little bit higher of a level, it's a little bit easier to attribute that or kind of become disciplined like that. In terms of trying to get somebody motivated or trying to get like an employee who may be just dragging their feet, right? How would you kind of go about that? Be like, come on, man, like we need a little bit more effort out of you, whether it's wrestling or like sometimes that external motivation. You can't just keep throwing lighter fluid on it. It's going to die out. Like
it's got how do you do Inception a little bit? I totally get it. Yeah. So you ever hear Simon Sinek talk?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's great, right?
Yeah.
And when he talks about like in a work culture, I love listening to him talk. He talks about like, the threat of firing somebody has been the overwhelming majority of businesses and CEOs and bosses throughout history. Like, hey, if you don't do X, Y, Z, you are at risk of getting fired. When in reality, if you really care about an individual and you really care about culture, you want them to progress with you. You don't want them to just come in and have the it factor. You do. Obviously, that's a best case scenario. But majority of the time, people are going to have faults, shortcomings, and they're going to have growth and progression that's going to take place, right?
No doubt.
So kind of the paraphrasing him, when these people have shortcomings, it's instead of just saying, hey, boom, you're done, and then scaring everybody else around you, all your employees around you, hey, if I mess up once, I'm out, right? You want to take them through the process, with them. You want to, hey, this is what this happens, and work on growing in that area together. All of a sudden, that inspires everybody else to, not to, I can mess up and it'll still be okay.
Yeah.
It's, look at how he treats people. That I don't have to operate on a fear-based motivation. I can operate on a I want to be better motivation. So I'm again paraphrasing from guys in college. Stealing, right? Big cherry pick thief.
You're just borrowing,
Just borrowing for the podcast,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Hope is pulled from fear, right? I hope I win. I hope I don't lose. I hope my boss doesn't, do this. It could
Fire
be anything,
my
right?
ass, yeah.
Anything. I hope she's not cheating on me. I hope that I can close this deal. It could be anything. Hope is very outcome based, right? It's the end of a match. It's 7 minutes in the future. How can I be the best version of myself in the moment if my mind is at the end of a match, right? It doesn't make sense, right? So instead of hoping, right, and being pulled from fear, I like to have excitement, because excitement is pulled from, again, the strongest force in the world, which is, you remember? Love, yeah. Right? So instead of being like, ooh, I hope I win, it's, ooh, I'm excited to be here. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think you're operating on a very more, you're wrestling free, for a wrestling metaphor, right? You're wrestling more free, right? And I think you get the most out of an individual when they can compete on that type of mindset rather than a fear-based motivation mindset, right? So if I can find somebody that loves what we're doing, I can find different ways to motivate this person. Now, it is different for everybody. Some people do like, as a coach, the number one thing that I've learned is, because I did it this way, it doesn't make it right for everybody else. And a lot of people think that.
Yeah.
Ooh, follow his footprints. People are different. Just because I did it this way and it worked for me doesn't mean that it's going to work for this kid. Let's find what works for you and figure it out together, right? So that's another thing, as just being a mentor, finding what motivates people is a very tough thing to do, especially when you only want them to motivate them the way you were motivated.
Exactly. You have the end goal and you're trying to get them there, trying to figure out what way to help motivate them the best. Now, was this learned throughout your time at Ohio State, or was it learned more in high school when you're at Walsh?
No, I wish I knew stuff in high school like this.
Sure. Talk about
everybody
that.
says that, right? But I'm sorry, say again.
So talk about that experience then when you're at the Ohio State.
Yeah, just the old cliche phrase, you're a product of who you're around, it's so true, right? When I was around those guys that winning nationals, guys that were winning the Olympics, literally world championships, I couldn't ask for better people to just learn from. I mean, everything they did, the air they breathed was about getting better. And it was exciting. You know what I mean? It's very exciting. Not that high school or Walsh Jesuit was bad. It was the best place I could have gone to high school, right? It's just a different level of mindset and a different level of thinking when you start to get to those higher levels. And, the Nate Tomasellos, the Colin Moores, the Logan Stiebers, they are just so knowledgeable on how they think. And it's so interesting. Some of them, it comes so naturally to, right? Where and I'm not saying those three, but just people in general, I don't know if they can teach it. Sometimes when you struggle at something, you can teach it better because you know what another kid might be doing. Right? Almost like a thief makes a good FBI agent type of thing, because I know what I would do as a thief, right? I know what I would do as a little punk Ohio State wrestler. It didn't come easy for me, right? So now when I look back at these kids that might be messing up a little bit, hey, you know what? I can relate because I did that. Hey, you're being an idiot. Don't do that. As opposed to, I never did that. I can't even understand why you'd act like it. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting, the dynamic that happens.
How were you able to develop yourself then at Ohio State? Like from being obviously with a lot of those guys, right? But how was Johnni DiJulius in high school different than Johnni DiJulius after college?
Well, so I'm not fully developed yet, right? We never.
No one.
That's important,
for
right?
Sure.
So I'm still always trying to learn. That's one thing I respect about Tom Ryan. He'll be 45. He'll bring in these, is he 45? I have no idea. He's probably in his 40s. He'll bring in these speakers, right, that are younger than him, right? These kids that have, ran marathons or done Ironman that are 25, 30, 35. And he sits there like a nerd, asking them questions, learning, cherry picking their brain. And he has accomplished a lot that you can accomplish in his particular sport. He has won the nationals as a team. He's coached X amount of NCAA champs, Olympic champs, world champions. And he's just, he's constantly learning. So that development word, that's a great word to just, the Johnny in high school learned from a million people in college, cherry picked, wanted to be better. The desire to want to be better has to be there though too, right? It wasn't always there. Sometimes you think you're the best in the world, but you're never as good as you think you are. You're never as bad as you think you are, right? You're gonna have these highs and lows, and they finish. They're never forever.
Yeah.
Like whenever I'm feeling real cocky, I know that this is not gonna be forever. Whenever I'm feeling bad, hey, this is not gonna be forever. And just throughout Ohio State, at some points I thought that I knew everything. And then all of a sudden you get around these people that just, they think so much higher than you. And you're like, wow, I don't know everything yet. I do need to do more. And you just continue to develop. But then it actually almost comes full circle where you're not just looking at people that are higher than you, right? Arbitrarily higher than you. Yeah. You start to learn from people that, hey, I could be a CEO and learn from the janitor, right? I could be this teacher who's been here for 20 years and learn from the rookie teacher that's been here for 1 year at the school, right? You just have to start being able to think, I can learn from anybody and take anything into consideration. And I think you're open to a lot more growth.
Yeah, I think someone told me a couple of weeks ago, when you're constantly learning, you don't have time to be arrogant. You can't.
So yeah, that's a great way to
maybe I'll
put
coin
it.
that. Maybe I'll coin that one day. But when you're constantly learning, you don't have time to ridicule or to compare.
Yeah,
or
they're
to
mutually
be,
exclusive.
Exactly.
Totally.
To be humble, right? And I think a lot of people in our society, they think once college, let's say, they graduate high school or they graduate college, they think learning is done at that point.
I know. It's unbelievable.
And that, they just kind of get into that workflow. Like you said, you die twice, once at 80 and once at 30. Once you're at 30, it's like,
autopilot.
I'm on autopilot till I retire, right? They never take the jump, or they're not reading books, or they're not getting out of their comfort zone.
Learn a language. Do something off script. You know what I mean? Like I started trying to learn Spanish last year.
Yeah.
I got pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's what's I think scarier than arrogance. I don't think arrogance is okay per se, but sometimes you're feeling yourself a little bit, right? Okay, you're confident. Confident. I actually heard this. I stole this from somebody. Confidence is doesn't come before experience. I'm sorry, not experience. Effort. If I'm going to go into a fight, right? If I'm walking down the street, I'm just going to be feeling, like a badass. Some dude walks up to me, he's pretty big. I'm not going to be confident I'm going to whoop his ass.
Yeah.
Until what? Until I fight him. Confidence is the reward of trying, right? You don't gain confidence from quitting your job and knowing you're going to be successful afterwards. You gain confidence after you quit your job. And I'm only saying quit your job if someone hates their job. I'm not telling everybody to quit their job, right? I'm going through thoughts in my head, not saying them all, so I apologize. But it could be anything. Wrestling, it could be jumping off of shit, whatever it is. Confidence is the reward of trying. You have to give effort first, and then you become confident. People think, ooh, I can't do that yet. I'm not confident yet. They think it should come first.
Yeah.
And it's wrong. And so arrogance sometimes is it's usually bad, but sometimes, when you let it hang a little bit, it's a good thing. What's worse, I think, than arrogance is being ungrateful.
Very true.
I think being grateful is the single best ingredient you can be as a human. I just think being grateful is you can't complain and be grateful at the same time. I hate people that complain. I just do. It's like, what are you complaining about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's real stuff going on in the world, and you're complaining that you didn't get your coffee this morning. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You look at everything that's going on in Ukraine, man.
Seriously.
Right? I mean, we live in an amazing period of time in history, in the greatest country in the world, right? I mean, like you said, oh my gosh, traffic sucks, dude.
And it's the people that have dealt with real things, the people that have lost siblings, loved ones, the people that have gone through real life trauma that kind of don't complain at all. Like people in Ukraine, I don't know anybody from the Ukraine, but just off of my small sample population, right?
Sure.
They have people that have gone through real stuff complain less. It's the people that don't go through that much stuff.
Yeah.
That traffic is the worst part of their day. You know what I mean? That's the people that complain the most.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing?
And you've traveled, how many states have you been to?
49.
Okay. So you've been to almost every single, what's in one state?
Alaska's the best one.
You got to go.
I know. Harry's going soon too. I got to go.
Awesome.
I'm
Yeah.
piggyback off him.
That's awesome. So I mean, you've been traveling. So 49 states and you've met a lot of people, right?
Been fortunate, yeah.
Right. So
Probably about 50 countries, 45 to 50 countries.
You got it. Yeah. So is that like a mindset that we have pretty predominantly in the United States, like most demographics?
No, okay. I've gone back and forth on this. It's so funny, like progression of thought. You go one direction and then you're like so confident it's this way, and then it kind of brings you back. It like 180s you back. I went through the whole like, oh, United States is so arrogant. We're so, we have feet and everybody else has meters, everybody, and you kind of like do that. But then like once I started really traveling a lot, I kind of realized the United States is awesome.
Oh,
we
yeah.
really are.
Yeah.
Like we have so much good, like not everybody thinks the left, the right, the this, the that, everybody's a piece of shit, everybody's bad, everybody's that.
Yeah.
I think most people, majority of people, and this might be a naive statement, I think most people are pretty good people.
Yeah.
I don't think there's that many bad people. You know what I mean? But we're like represented by the radical bad people, right?
Yeah.
And I just try to have a lot of grace for people. So when I start traveling around the world and I'm meeting all these different people, you just have you have a lot of love for where you're from.
Yeah.
It's cool.
What's your favorite country you've been to?
Man, come on. Come on. I loved Palau.
Okay, where's that?
It's like Fiji area.
Oh,
It's cool. There's this place there that about 20,000 years ago, the water level was like super high, right? And over time, the water levels went down and down and down, and it uncovered these rocks that eventually became islands, and these rocks trapped a body of water inside, but it's salt water because it used to be ocean water, right? 10 million, no joke, 10 million jellyfish were trapped in that lake. Now, because of reverse Darwinism, they have no reason to have a sting. They have no predators, no sea turtles, stuff that eats jellyfish. They've lost their sting over generations. So you can jump in this. Yeah, you can just swim with jellyfish. It's one of the most insane places in the world. It's super cool.
Were you nervous, like taking
when you get in there, you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like little heartbeats everywhere. But then you get comfortable, right? And it becomes really cool. But yeah, at first you're super nervous.
Yeah.
And so Palau was great. I love the Philippines.
Oh, really?
That was an interesting place. Yeah, very cool.
I'm half Filipino.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what Magandang Buhay means?
No.
It means it's a beautiful life.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
it is, though, right? Come
yeah.
on.
We were supposed to go to the Philippines back in last year, but COVID
Yeah.
and everything.
Where are you going to go? Palawan?
Pangasinan,
Where's that?
north of Manila.
On the mainland.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So actually, you know what? Because I said Magandang Buhay, I try to pick up a phrase in each, like, I call them the Pura Vidas because everybody knows Costa Rica, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pure life. It's the Pura Vidas of each country. What's their phrase? Iceland's my favorite phrase. So this is like one of my favorite stories ever, right? This is how I live. Do you know what the term Paranoia means?
No.
Paranoia is the opposite of paranoia. Basically what it means is paranoia, the universe is out to get me. Pronoia would be like the universe is conspiring in my favor. For example, we made that traffic complaint joke, right? Like, I'm in traffic right now. A pronoia person would be like, ooh, I'm in traffic right now. This sucks. It's inconvenient to me. I'm going to be late, but maybe it's saving me from an accident I would have been in 10 miles down the road had I had no traffic.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's how pronoia people think,
Yeah.
right? Like my biggest mess up kind of like put me on a path of where I'm supposed to be, right?
Like
now
more Fati.
Yeah, right? Like exactly. So I'm in Iceland, and you know what the Blue Lagoon is?
No, I don't.
It's like their Statue of Liberty. It's just an iconic place to go visit, right? It's a natural hot spring, and you go there, but it's really commercialized. And it's not natural. It's natural water. They pump spring water into like a man-made bottom. Super big letdown. I was like super excited. Oh, we're going to go to the Blue Lagoon. Me and my buddy Bryce. It's going to be sick. We get there. It's an hour. It's like a 10-hour wait. 10-hour wait.
Oh, my gosh.
$100 per person to get in. They totally commercialized this place. They built like a spa around it. It's like a building, and it was like a big letdown. So I look at this guy and I'm like, Bryce, let's sneak in. Let's freaking get James Bond on this, right? Not influencing anybody to sneak in and break the rules in another country, but also
But no tomorrow.
no tomorrow. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we like hop over this, these rocks, and we go in this service entrance, and we're walking through this hallway. And you ever seen like the Scooby-Doo hallway scene when they run in one door and they come out?
Yeah,
there? It was like that. We're just like with confidence, just walking through. This is where Arrogance plays a good role.
Yeah.
We're just like pretending we're supposed to be walking through all these doors and shit, right? And finally, after like 5 minutes, we find a door that opens to the Blue Lagoon. You're supposed to go through a locker room, have a wristband, all this stuff. We find this door that goes into the Blue Lagoon, and we're like high-fiving. We strip down right there. We throw our stuff on the side. We get in. We're like, yo, we're James Bond. We're freaking sick. We see this security guard like pointing at us, and we're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
We're about to go to jail in another country. This is not okay, right? So he calls us over. We swim over, and he goes, let me see your wristbands. My arms are just in the water. I'm like, what? It fell off. Like, I don't know what to say. Yeah. So he's like, all right, you guys just broke and entered the Blue Lagoon. You got to get out of here. They put us on like they took a picture of us on a list. We're never allowed back, all this stuff, right? So we kind of left there in defeat, right?
Yeah.
We left there in defeat. And while we're driving in our rental car later on, we're like, dude, like, let's go find a real hot spring. Like something real, like not that, commercialized BS. Let's go find something real out there in the wilderness. So we start Googling all these things. We're on all trails. We're on forums. We're on TripAdvisor. We're on all these different like apps and forums and looking for this crazy like hot spring that we find in the wilderness. And we find this one on this forum. It's, a 2-hour drive and it's like a 2-mile walk. It's not that far, right? 2-mile hike is not that far, but it's up this like Glacier River. It's like the middle of the wilderness. How Iceland is, Reykjavik is the main city. It's pretty populated. All the towns outside of that, think of them like Amish towns. Like 4 people live in them. Yeah. No joke. It's like 3 buildings. It's nuts. I don't know how they trick or treat. I don't know if they have that over there, but I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I get candy. So we're driving out there, and we're probably like this place where we parked, the trailhead, is probably 45 minutes from the nearest town, right? Which again is not very big. We hike up this Glacier River. And imagine like just running water, and all of a sudden you see part of the water just steaming.
Yeah. And
that was it. That was the hot spring. We found it. We were high-fiving. It's midnight. It's sunny out because it's the midnight sun. We're going nuts, right? We hop in. These 2 kids from Iceland show up. They come. They sit down next to us. They're like, oh, how you doing? They talk like this in Iceland. They talk like this. Yeah. Hey, how you guys doing? Right? And we're like, yo, what's up, man? You guys from around here? You come here often? Right? Like we're doing that whole thing, small talk. And it starts raining. It starts to drizzle. It looks like it's going to rain.
Yeah.
So we're like, yo, we got to hike back. Like, it's about to rain. Like, it's a 2-mile hike. Like, let's get out of here. The dude looks at me and he goes, hey, would you mind if I got in the car with you and you drove me to the nearest town? I kind of look at him and I'm like, bro, we are 2 miles from the trailhead.
Yeah.
And then a 45-minute drive, let alone if you were here, drive to the nearest town. It's about to pour.
And how old are they?
17.
Yeah.
I go, what would you do if I wasn't here? Like, yeah, I'll give you a ride, but what would you do if I wasn't here?
Yeah.
And he goes, tataretas. Or he said something, I can't say it perfect, but he was like, tataretas. It's P-E-D-A-S-T. I'm sorry, I said the last word. P-E-T-T-A-R-E-D-A-S-T. Pataretas.
Yeah.
I go, what does that mean? And he goes, paranoia, right? He goes, whatever happens, it always works out.
Oh.
And it's like my favorite phrase.
Did you get chills at that point?
Bro,
yeah.
The rest of our trip was pataretas. Like, we were in Spain, our car breaks down, and like that set up an order of events because we had to go to this gas station at this time. We met these kids and we flew to Ibiza. Like, everything became paranoia after that. You know what I mean? It was freaking sick. So shout out to that dude. I don't know if he'll ever see this podcast, but he changed my life. And he's 17 when I was like 26. It was awesome.
You didn't exchange contact information at all? Damn. That's crazy. So are you just, mantra for no tomorrow then is the paranoia? I mean, like,
Try to, yeah.
That's amazing.
It has to do with all that. That's kind of like, I try to get no tomorrow to be an umbrella and a bunch of stuff like that just to be, subreddits of that.
Have you ever thought about being like a motivational speaker?
My dad does a little bit of that.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously. Yeah, I mean,
I would love to. A lot of motivational speakers, not that I haven't had my own personal failures, but they've had major failures and setbacks where they've just came back from. I've had tough things happen. I lost my mom when I was young. I wrestling, setbacks, etc. But my dad, he's overcame everything. He's not only lost his wife, right? He got kicked out of college. He went back to college and then finished. He had all Fs, flunked out, and then he started his own business, right? And he risked himself going under in business and he, et cetera, all this stuff. He's had so many like failures and mountaintops and all these different things go for him that it makes him a great speaker, right? I just happen to be a good speaker because he's my dad.
Yeah.
So I can talk well, right? But I want to have some credibility. I got to accomplish something first or mess something up first.
Yeah. Well, hey, paranoia, right? It's going to happen, right? And I love that. I'm going to keep that with me probably forever.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen, that's my favorite. I stole it off of some guy, Joe Rogan, had on his podcast. I forget what the guy's name was, but he said it, and I fell in love with it. I don't even watch Joe Rogan very much.
So
but
watch. Do you know Ryan Holiday? Have you ever heard?
Wait, that
of him?
sounds super familiar.
Ryan Holiday.
I knew Roy Holiday.
Well, you
Shout
might
out.
like Ego is the Enemy and Stillness is the Key. He's written a few books.
Where's Secret Service at? We need my dad's book
He's
up
right
here.
there. Well, Relationship Economy.
Oh, I forgot
that's the one.
That's his too.
Oh God, your dad's gonna kill you. No, but Ryan Holiday, he talks a lot about like the Stoics. Right?
Oh yeah.
Right, where he talks about like ancient Romans.
That's my
ancient
favorite
Greeks.
type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like what's a Memento?
Well, there's Memento Mori.
That I like that one. What,
Right.
That's like what we're all gonna die, or what is it?
That means you love to remind yourself that you're going to die.
So
right?
just go do dope shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like open that business, start a podcast, like whatever people are gonna make funny for, go freaking do it.
Yeah,
Who cares?
And he talks like what you were talking about Paranoia, but like what he says, Ryan Holiday, which I guess I cherry pick, right, is amor fati, right?
Ooh, what's this?
Amor
I already like
fati
this.
amor fati means a love for fate, meaning that no matter what happens, it was always meant to happen. It's the best thing that could ever happen to you.
Very cool.
Right?
Very
so
cool. You're always where you're supposed to be, even if you die. It might have been better for the world had you died. Like I really believe that.
well, it's all 100%. Like no matter what happens, like if as rudimentary as spilling milk, it
Yeah.
was meant to happen. Or
Yeah, totally.
hey, something
Plane crash.
or
Yeah.
you get shot in the leg, but
Right.
then maybe you learn so many different things from it, or whatever have you. Right?
I always say that too. Like, okay, I said my mom passed away, right? Like my paranoia, my lesson, silver lining. I'm never gonna appreciate the lesson more than I would want I will always trade it. But if that's all I have now and I can't go back in time,
Yeah.
then that's what I'm gonna latch onto, and it's gonna be my reason. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
This did happen. I wish it wouldn't have, but now I have this.
Yeah.
And that's all I do have now. I'm gonna run with it. You know what I mean? So that's cool.
That's freaking awesome. I love
Try
that.
to.
So
And don't feel weird. Ask as many questions as you want. I'm good at talking about this kind of subject. You know, if in regards to my mom.
yeah, I mean, as much as you're comfortable with it, right?
Very. It keeps people alive when you talk about them.
Okay. I mean, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah. So something that I wish a lot of people would understand. If you ever have somebody that's lost a loved one, nobody asks them questions because they're scared to ask them questions. Some people do struggle, right? I can't speak on behalf of everybody, but a lot of people that I've met, right? It's like the cool kids club. Oh, you lost a parent? Me too, right? Like we all honestly gravitate towards each other, like at parties, pre-games, bars. Like you'll run into somebody and you almost have like a connection that you lost a parent at a young age. It's super weird how that happens, but you just start talking, right? And something I've realized is nobody asks questions like, so-and-so's dad, let's say, dies, and I'm his best friend. I'm scared to say, hey, what was your best memory with your dad? Because I don't want to bring up dad because he might get sad, right? People, in reality, and I can't speak for everybody, a lot of people want questions about them. They want to talk about them, right?
Yeah.
People are scared to talk about it as friends, but as friends, ask questions because it helps the person, right? So that's one thing I want a lot of people to know. But when it comes to losing somebody, right? I said I cherry pick from everybody. This is something I made up. This is mine.
Here
I'm
you go.
taking it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
This
yeah.
is taking it to my grave.
Coin it.
Coin
yeah.
it. What's your favorite movie?
I really enjoy Good Will Hunting.
Okay, what's the first scene you think of?
When he is the first scene.
First scene you think of that pops in your head. Good Will Hunting, what's the scene?
So when Will and the doctor are talking about how it's not Will's fault that he ended up
He's hugging him in the room.
exactly.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. He's crying, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You could have thought of the bench when they were sitting on the bench at the park. You could have thought of, how about them apples? You could have thought
Yeah.
of, when Ben Affleck pulls up at the end and Will's not there. You could have thought of any scene. Mm-hmm. Why did you not think of the end credits?
I don't know. Yeah.
Stupid, right?
Yeah.
So when you bring up my mom, I don't need to think of the end credits of her life.
Oh, that's very true.
Right? I can think of when she took me to Disney World when I was 12. I can think of chapter 6, scene 6, episode 6, when we played hooky at school, right? Because if I died right now, right, memento mori, we unfortunately are all going to. Well, if I died right now and someone brought up Johnny, I wouldn't want you to hear Johnny followed by negative emotion. I'd want you to miss me, but I want you to hear Johnny and be like, oh, that crazy motherfucker, right? Something positive, right?
Yeah.
Something to go on. And that's exactly what my mom would want. That's what anybody would want, right? So I like to think of movies, and I'm sorry, losing someone in an analogy like movies. I'm not going to think of the end credits of their life. I'm going to think of things that happened throughout their life, throughout their movie. And it's funny because I used to cry on the way home from a trip from Florida, from Disney World, whenever I was with my family when I was, 8, 9, 10 years old. And my mom would always say the same thing. We've all heard this before, but she would always say, don't be sad it's over, be glad it happened, right? And after she dies, am I sad that it's over with her? Of course. But I also could be more focused on how grateful I am I had 16 years with her. Sad it's over, but glad it happened, right? I'm glad I had the time I had with her. And that's the direction I like to think, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. Yeah. And do you think of her like when you're doing any of your
Oh,
songs?
yeah, of course. So I actually have her signature tattooed on my arm. Yeah. And this is the side you get your hand raised in wrestling. She brought me my first wrestling practice.
No way.
Yeah. I also jump with an orange parachute. Her favorite color was orange. Do a lot for her. Just keep her memory alive, right? It's good.
Yeah.
Another little thing I like to think about, in terms of that movie analogy is good years down the road. If you're still struggling, it's nice to think of, hey, you don't have to think of the end credits. It's very hard the first few months. Right? Everybody gets overwhelmed with texts when someone passes away the first week, right? Oh my God, thinking about you. Oh my God, my dad died also when I was 6, right? Like they try to relate, they try to say stuff, etc., all that stuff. After that week is over, everybody goes back to living their life and you are alone. And that's when a lot of stuff sinks in for a lot of people, right? So I stole this from Coach G, a guy at Walsh Jesuit. He was a teacher of mine. He said to me, turn why to what. And basically what this means is, I'll use wrestling as an example. I get thrown on my back in the first 5 seconds of a match. I could say, why me? Why did I do that move? Why, God, why? Why do bad things happen to good people? Why would I do that? But why is a very past tense looking word. It's going to keep me in the past. Why did my mom have to die? Why does bad things happen to good people? Why? Past tense, past tense, past tense. If you change why to what is a progressive term. What do I got to do to get back in this wrestling match? Yeah. What do I got to do to get over the loss of my mom, to be there for my brothers, to, if you're religious, right, be closer to God, whatever it is, right? And I know I said be present earlier, you don't want to be there, but there's a time to look back, see where I came from. There's a time to look forward. Hey, I'm on the right direction. What is a very forward-thinking term. And I think if we start to think like that during adversity, during breakups, during, just knock you on your ass moments. Yeah. I think it helps. It doesn't make it easier. You can't say that, but it helps you start to think in the right direction.
Does that kind of help block out anybody? Like, there's a lot of judgment, I would imagine, like you were on Fox News, right?
I got a lot, of hate for that.
Exactly, right? But I mean, again, you're living your best life and, you have your mom tattooed on you, you're wearing her favorite color. Does that kind of help block out everybody, just block out the noise? Like, hey, I'm doing this for a reason.
Yeah, so she's not the reason I jump, right? I want her with me on adventures, right? Like that's like something, because she's my mom, right? Like I love that. If I'm going to be honest, I struggle with this part a lot. The reason I jump is selfish.
Really?
Super selfish, right? Yeah. Base jumping is a very high risk activity. Super high risk. Skydiving is 1 in 200,000 fatality rate. It is very rare for someone to die skydiving. Yeah. I think 11 people died in 2021 in like the country out of 3 million jumps, right? Yeah. It's very rare. And usually it's not tandems, it's single jumpers who have human error, not gear error. It's people like trying to, land in between 2 trees super fast and they hit a tree. It's stuff like that, right? Base jumping is 1 in 60, right? It's a lot high risk. Yeah. It is selfish, and I battle with it. My brother hates it. He talks a lot of shit to me about it, right? And I do feel selfish, but I do think at times it is okay to be selfish. Maybe not base jumping, but you do have to have your best self to give your best self. There's a reason they say put your mask on first before helping others on a plane. If you're passed out because you were helping too many people, you can't help anybody else. But if you take care of yourself first, you can help the whole plane because I got air now, right? If I'm living my best life in a quote unquote selfish manner, I can give the best version of myself to everybody else around me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Again, I battle with it. I'm saying it and it sounds good right now. Base jumping is fucked up though. So there is times where I go, hey, should I stop? Worrying people. But I fucking love it. It's sick. Yeah. It's so fun.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day I'll go parachuting with you.
I'll take you skydiving, man. I'd love to.
Yeah.
Love to take you skydiving. I took Ty, who works here, Ty Mitch. I've took him like 5 times. Yeah.
Sheesh.
I'm shocked I haven't, gotten him addicted yet.
Yeah. Damn. All right, man. Well, hey, as we're wrapping up, I know you have to go to Florida.
Yeah, I got a flight right now.
yeah, exactly. And you're not jumping off this one.
No, we got to land the boring way. 2 wheels down. Oh,
maybe you
man.
could talk to the pilots and stuff.
Yeah.
But hey, man, just want to say thank you so much for coming on. And before we end, you're super motivational, right? I already think you should be a motivational speaker one day. Maybe you'll supersede your dad one day. But for anybody struggling out there, right? Like, what's your best piece of advice that you could give to somebody?
I think most people struggle when they're outcome based. Do you know what the arrival fallacy is? I'll wrap it up. I know I'm going into a whole other thing, but the arrival fallacy is basically whatever end goal I have, people think I'm going to achieve everlasting happiness when I get there. Mm-hmm. If I want to be a millionaire, I'm a millionaire. I'm going to be happy forever. I'm a good person. If you're a piece of shit before you're a millionaire, guess what? You're still are?
A piece of shit.
Still a piece of shit, right? A lot of people win that state title, win that national title, and they get there and they go, that's it? They don't feel anything different. They were the same as yesterday as they are today. Mm-hmm. So the arrival fallacy is, hey, you're this goal that you have, you're not going to just be happier just because you're there. You have to learn to, and this is cliche, but the process of things, the journey's worth it when you can put all of your focus on the journey. Mm-hmm. How do you eat an elephant? Have you ever heard that phrase?
One bite at a time.
Right. And the elephant is an overwhelming obstacle. Straight A's. Ask a girl out to prom. Make $1 million. Win a state title. Whatever it is, right? That's overwhelming. That's going to give me so much stress. How am I going to get over a breakup? How am I going to get over the loved one that I just died? How am I going to go over losing a job? Whatever it is, that's the elephant. It's so overwhelming. Bite by bite. When you become more present, more no tomorrow type, more present, you make the best decision you can in that moment. That doesn't mean, hey, I'm present, don't care about the future. That's not what it means at all. What it means is I know the right decisions to make right now that are going to better my future. So all of my focus and energy and effort is going to go right now. Mm-hmm. We all know the difference between right and wrong. Circumstances don't change that. I know that salad is better than cake. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be super, super, super present. I'm sorry. I don't need to be super, super, super focused on the future. My diet, I'm going to look like this, to know cake is worse for me than salad.
For sure.
So if I start thinking about the future only, sometimes you mess up some of these present decisions that you should be making. All my effort is on the next bite in front of me. Hey, eat salad. What comes after that? The next, above the line, Urban Meyer, controllable decision I can make, brush my teeth. Okay, what comes after that? Get to bed on time. Okay, what comes after that? So it's bite by bite by bite. So I think a lot of people that struggle, I think they need to get out of that outcome-based mentality, that perfectionist mentality. A lot of things have to go wrong for something to go perfect. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say that again. A lot of things have to go wrong for something to go perfect. Paranoia. Right? That's what I hope people can
that ended great. Full circle, baby. Let's go.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm sorry that I was late again.
Absolutely.
Sorry I was late again. Not late. I'm sorry I had to push it early again because I have a flight. That's what I meant to say. I'd love to come back on, though, and make it up.
Absolutely, guys. That was episode 21 with Johnny, the Daredevil.
21 like blackjack. Come on.
See, this is the Business and Beyond podcast with Chris Doyle. Thank you guys for tuning in. Talk soon. Bye.